pull your cloak a little tighter and, stare into this campfire with us. The night is cold and, well, the shadows are long. But tonight we are unspooling a legend that asks a genuinely terrifying question.
Right, a question of how much of your own soul you have to burn just to save the world from the ashes. Because the figures in the chronicles we are exploring tonight are about to find out.
Yeah, and the cost is just staggering. I mean, it is a brutal calculus. Our deep dive into the lore takes us directly to the edge of the abyss with a very specific fellowship.
Exactly. These aren't your pristine knights in shining armor. They are a strike team marked by fate, standing in that rapidly shrinking gap between the mortal world and total annihilation.
Just imagine the scene. The Great War has ended, but the peace is an illusion, right? An apocalypse beckons from the shadows.
Because the heroes of our tale are marked by a prophecy. And it is not just symbolic. Their skin literally glows with this unpredictable, pulsing purple magic.
Which is wild to think about. And the stakes driving them. A greater demon, a literal world ender named Gormack, is actively trying to tear open something called the Gate of the Bound.
Right, to fully enter the mortal plane. Time is entirely running out. The chronicles reveal that the veil between worlds is already beginning to rend.
Yeah. Gormack hasn't arrived yet, but his vanguard has. He has generals, these terrifying, localized entities of pure destruction spread across the lands.
And the heroes have realized that they alone stand at the edge of this abyss. Their task requires them to look deeply into the dark.
Which drops us directly into the soot-stained, suffocating alleyways of Ashwillow. If you don't know the lore of Ashwillow, it is a volcanic pirate city built straight over a bubbling, active lake of lava.
Oh, the heat in those streets is just oppressive. The air constantly smells of sulfur, ash, and, right now, fresh blood.
Yeah, because our strike team is huddled in the deep shadows of a stone garden, literally fighting just to catch a single breath.
And their physical condition is dire. They just barely survived a brutal ambush against 5 highly trained assassins.
I mean, they were successful in their primary objective, right?
Yeah.
They managed to reclaim that stolen prophetic magical artifact, Howl the Bard's Ring.
Right, and they've dumped the assassins' bodies into the lava to hide the evidence. But look at the toll it took to get there.
It's devastating. You have Zora, the high elf sorcerer, leaning against the alley wall, barely conscious. She was nearly killed instantly by a crossbow bolt to the chest.
And Aaron, the human ranger, is leaning on his bow down to a tiny fraction of his normal strength. His muscles are just failing.
You have Welsies, the stalwart dwarven Taladin, totally dented and bruised in heavy plate armor. And Atenemus, the half-elf warlock, who serves that mysterious dark patron, alongside Bip, the halfling rogue, keeping watch.
They are bleeding. They are exhausted.
Okay, let's unpack this. They face an agonizing tactical choice right here in the soot. Do they retreat to their safe house to heal their life-threatening wounds?
Or do they press the attack on the Iron Crown fortress towering above them while that end-of-days clock keeps ticking?
Right. Logic and basic survival instinct scream for a retreat. A broken sword can't cut down a demon.
But that copal magic thrumming in their veins isn't just a prophecy. It's a constant burning reminder that every single second they delay, Gormack's grip on the world grows tighter.
Yeah. They know for a fact that the Hand of Gormack, one of those brutal demonic generals, is waiting inside the Iron Crown fortress, suspended directly above the lava lake.
So they choose to climb directly into the jaws of the volcano. They reject the retreat entirely.
Using a clandestine parchment known as the Map of Hidden Routes, they formulate a plan to completely bypass the heavily guarded main bridge.
Right, they're going up the eastern ledge.
Yeah.
Straight up the sheer volcanic rock.
Which forces a massive realization about their team composition. They aren't just fighting the environment, right? They are fighting their own gear.
Oh, absolutely. Welsies the paladin is wearing heavy adamantine plate armor. Adamantine is an incredibly dense protective metal.
Trying to climb a crumbling cliff face in that while remaining entirely silent, practically impossible. He's basically a walking anvil.
Right, so the strategy has to shift. Bip, the halfling rogue, takes the lead. And the chronicles note a really brilliant tactile detail here.
Oh, I loved this part. Instead of using standard climbing pitons, Bip uses quiet mechanical chalks.
Yeah, think about the difference. Imagine trying to climb a rock wall by hammering metal spikes into the stone with a sledgehammer.
That's what normal pitons sound like. It would echo across the entire lava lake.
Exactly. Bip uses mechanical chalks, which are these intricate devices that expand silently inside the natural cracks of the rock using tension.
Almost like a surgical stent holding open an artery. Wellesley stays at the base, acting as the heavy anchor for the ropes.
But midway up this perilous climb, dangling over a literal lake of fire, they find something tucked into a recess in the cliff face.
A small, hidden shrine to Handseath, the dwarven god of carousing, brewing, and war.
A deity of festivals and bloody battle, carved right into the side of a lethal active volcano. It's such a stark reminder of the culture of this world.
And here is what Atenemus the Warlock does. He is dangling over a fiery death, trying to sneak into a demon-worshipping pirate stronghold. His friends are bleeding out.
Yeah.
And he takes out a flask of incredibly precious psychedelic fey liquor he's been carrying for a long time, and he sacrifices it to the shrine.
He pours it right into the donation tray.
I have to admit, reading this, it feels insane. It's like running from a burning building, seeing a convenience store, and stopping to buy a lottery ticket.
It absolutely sounds like a lapse in judgment from our modern perspective.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating here is we have to understand the tangible economy of faith in this lore.
Right, because gods actively watch the mortal realm here.
Exactly. Magic and divine favor are tangible currencies. A sacrifice of something truly valuable, like that rare fey liquor, isn't just a prayer. It is a transaction.
And that lottery ticket pays out immediately, the god answers. Atenemus is suddenly granted complete supernatural immunity to fire.
And the rest of the party receives a divine resistance to the heat.
And the timing is terrifyingly perfect. Moments after that blessing settles over them, the magma lake below shifts.
A massive bubble of lava rises to the surface and violently bursts, showering Wellesley and Aaron in molten rock.
Oh man, the text is so clear. Without that sudden divine fire resistance, the kinetic heat would have boiled them alive inside their armor.
It saves their lives, but the physical reality of the climb still takes a severe toll.
Absolutely. The divine magic cools the lava, but it doesn't give them better grip. Aaron's exhausted muscles just give out.
He loses his footing, slips, and is left dangling over the abyss.
Plummeting until the rope snaps taut against Wellesley's anchor at the bottom, nearly pulling the dwarf off the ledge. Then Zora slips.
Right, she's the last in line, bleeding from her chest wound, falling backward until the team frantically hauls the slack.
It is a breathless, agonizing ascent, but they finally heave themselves up onto a high stone balcony, slipping through heavy double doors into the upper reaches of the iron-crowned fortress.
And the environment instantly shifts. They have conquered the physical threat of the volcano, but now they are inside the belly of the beast.
Yeah, the Iron Crown is swarming with hardened pirates, mercenaries, and demon cultists. The Fellowship has to pivot immediately from environmental survival to psychological warfare.
Down the hall to the south, the chronicles describe the echoing sounds of a boisterous pirate revelry. A massive drunken party is underway.
Bip, moving like a shadow along the stone walls, silently locks the heavy dining hall doors, physically barricading the partying pirates away from their path.
They move north into the corridors, and here, Atenemus weaves an illusion, a phantom scattering of gleaming gold coins on the stone floor.
To bait 2 sentries guarding the primary stairs.
That is a brutal, calculated exploitation of their enemy's nature. Pirates are driven by material greed. You don't try to distract them with the noise.
Right, you bait the trap with phantom wealth. A guard spots the shimmer, bends down to snatch the gold, and Bip and Aaron strike from the shadows.
Blades in the dark. They cut them down instantly without a sound.
But that brings us to a really uncomfortable turning point in the text. They move past the dead sentries and into the barracks.
Yeah, where they find dozens of drunken pirates asleep in their beds.
And they systematically execute them, blankets over their mouths, daggers to the throat. I have to say, reading that felt jarring.
It does.
We are supposed to be following the heroes of the age. Does the looming threat of this demon Gormack justify methods that feel like the tactics of an assassin's guild?
It forces us to confront the core theme of this entire chronicle, the cost of saving the world. In a vacuum, executing sleeping people is a dark, villainous act.
Right.
But we have to remember the context. The end of days clock is ticking. The world is on the brink of being consumed by an abyssal horror that will slaughter millions.
So survival completely trumps chivalry.
Exactly. If they offer a fair fight to a sleeping pirate, an alarm is raised. If the alarm is raised, the entire fortress descends on 5 wounded people.
The mission fails, and the mortal world burns.
They're actively sacrificing their own moral purity, shedding their own humanity, to ensure the realm survives.
It is a staggering burden to carry. But that grim pragmatism buys them the time they desperately need. Bip's keen eyes spot a secret door built into the stonework.
concealing a hidden stairwell. And these stairs descend straight down into the blazing ritual heart of the fortress.
The infiltration phase is over. The stealth mechanics are entirely stripped away. They are plunging directly into the crucible.
And the scene at the bottom of these secret stairs is a beautifully terrifying tactical nightmare.
So the heroes are outnumbered by vastly superior foes in a room that is essentially designed to function as a giant oven.
But they have the element of surprise.
And they use it. Zora strikes first, unleashing a spell called Ice Storm right into the superheated room.
Which triggers an immediate physics reaction.
Exactly. It's not just magic, it's arcane thermodynamics. When the supernatural ice hits the ambient heat and the molten lava, it causes a violent expansion of vapor.
It creates a massive, blinding fog of thick steam that fills the chamber.
While the enemies are blinded, Aaron reaches into a magical bag of tricks and pulls out a giant rat, sending it scurrying across the floor.
It sounds absurd, but tactically it's brilliant. You have elite, disciplined soldiers suddenly surrounded by blinding steam and the chaotic sounds of a massive beast.
It completely shatters their battle formation. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Remember Artemis's gamble with the fey liquor on the cliff?
Oh yes. As the fight starts, the ancient statues in the room begin to pulse with dark energy. They are actively sucking in the ambient heat of the lava.
And radiating a searing, damaging aura. The room itself is trying to cook the Fellowship alive. But Artemis has complete divine immunity to fire.
He essentially has a supernatural hazard suit.
Yes. Imagine walking through a melting nuclear reactor while everyone else is blistering. He just wades through the pulsing, lethal heat, completely unbothered.
He levels his hands and obliterates the Forge Channeler with concussive blasts of eldritch magic.
Then, using another wave of sheer kinetic force, he shoves the Cinder Archer backward, right off a stone ledge and directly into the lava pool.
It's masterful battlefield control. But you can't win a fight of this magnitude purely through misdirection and positioning. Someone has to anchor the line.
And that falls to Welsies. The dwarven paladin charges the gargantuan general. His great axe, which he has famously named C-3PO, wrapped in glowing ivy, is thrumming with sheer wrath.
Notice how Welsies anchors this entire strategy. He's not just swinging an axe to do damage, he is creating a physical blockade.
Right, to protect the fragile spellcasters. He channels a divine smite. And in this lore, a divine smite isn't just hitting something hard.
No, he is literally weaponizing his own life force, his sheer faith.
Converting it into blinding, radiant energy that courses through the axe. He slams a massive 40 damage strike right into the Goliath's armor, cracking the iron.
But the hand is a monster. He retaliates with legendary counterstrikes, swinging massive gauntlets that batter the dwarf for 50 damage.
Trying to crush him straight down into the stone floor. It's a terrifying game of raw attrition.
Welsies is absorbing kinetic force that would instantly pulverize the rest of the team. He's using his dense dwarven physiology as a shock absorber.
So the others have the space they need to operate, and Aaron utilizes that space perfectly. He activates a magical Zephyr Strike,
A spell that essentially alters his momentum, allowing him to glide on the wind.
dancing right out of the blinding ash cloud without triggering any counterattacks. He draws his oath bow. An oath bow is a terrifying weapon.
It requires the archer to swear a vow of absolute enmity against a specific target. Once that vow is spoken, the magic locks on.
Aaron pins the Goliath general with a volley of guided arrows.
And that creates the critical vulnerability. The armor is cracked by the paladin, the Goliath is pinned by the ranger, and the sorcerer is ready.
Zora finds her moment. She channels a devastating lightning bolt straight through the swirling steam,
Striking the gargantuan Goliath with so much concentrated electrical force that his nervous system overloads.
The hand drops to the floor in a heap of shattered, smoking iron. At the exact same moment, Bip materializes from the shadows of the steam cloud.
And runs a dagger through the spine of the ashen blade. The lieutenants are dead. The hand is down.
The mechanical synergy of the team in this sequence is breathtaking. Ice magic creating thermal shock, summoned beasts causing chaos.
Raw, physical, divine smiting, anchoring the line, and calculated arcane strikes. They systematically dismantled an unbreakable force.
They did, but you need to understand something deeply horrifying about the prophecy they carry and the nature of Gormack's forces.
Right.
Killing a mortal general like that Goliath, that is just taking the lid off the jar.
Precisely. The true threat was never the Goliath. The Goliath was merely a containment vessel.
As the Goliath's body hits the floor, the shattered iron armor doesn't just lie there, it violently shatters outward. The broken body begins to warp.
Swelling unnaturally.
It transforms, pulling raw energy from the air, shifting into a gigantic, amorphous construct made entirely of pure, volatile, purple demonic energy.
It is a direct vessel for the demon god Gormack himself.
The beast roars, a sound that vibrates through the volcanic foundations of the fortress, yelling, "You will die now!"
And with terrifying supernatural speed, it reaches out and drags Welsies and Aaron right to the very crumbling lip of the lava pit.
The physical, tactical fight they prepared for is over. They are no longer fighting a general.
They are fighting an apocalyptic concept made manifest in purple magic.
It is pure panic. In a desperate act to save his friends from being hurled into the magma, Atenemus reaches into his arcane reserves
And casts a spell of absolute darkness.
He swallows the entire blazing, superheated ritual chamber into a pitch-black abyssal void.
Which is a massive tactical gamble. The mechanism of magical darkness isn't just turning off the lights. It actively absorbs all ambient light.
Right. It creates a void where even dark vision fails. It blinds the demonic construct, yes, but it completely blinds the Fellowship as well.
Put yourself in that room. You are fighting a gargantuan, purple-glowing demon construct. You are standing inches from a sheer drop into a boiling lake of lava.
And suddenly you are plunged into absolute magical nothingness. You can't see the weapon in your own
You
hands.
can only feel the blistering heat radiating from the lava, hear the deafening roar of the demon.
The bubbling of the magma, the ringing of steel against stone. Welsies uses the cover of the dark to pray, desperately funneling tiny amounts of healing magic into his own broken body just to stay conscious.
Aaron is drawing his bow, pulling the string back and firing arrows into the void entirely by sound.
Hoping he hits the beast and not his friends.
It strips away all their carefully crafted advantages.
Yeah.
They are fighting on pure instinct, adrenaline, and desperation. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brings us back to the core nature of that purple magic.
The energy that marks their skin and powers this demon isn't stable.
No, it is a volatile, explosive force. It is the raw material of the apocalypse, highly reactive under pressure.
And that volatility is about to reach its absolute breaking point. Standing blind in the center of that sensory deprivation is Zora.
The chronicles describe her being caught in a violent, unpredictable surge of wild magic.
In this lore, wild magic isn't just a random spell. It's what happens when the arcane weave gets overloaded.
The room is so thick with demonic heat, pressure, and the suffocating void of the darkness spell that her connection to magic essentially short-circuits reality.
She points her hands into the black void, staring at nothing, and unleashes a maximized lightning bolt.
A surge of pure, uncontrolled, highly concentrated, destructive force.
The spell connects. It strikes the purple demonic construct directly in the dark, and the chemical arcane reaction is catastrophic.
Think about what happens when you introduce a maximized electrical charge into an unstable, pressurized vessel of demonic energy.
The construct doesn't just die, it violently destabilizes. The purple magic holding the demon together ruptures. The demon turns into a bomb.
It detonates in a terminal burst of force that rips the magical darkness to shreds.
The backlash of that explosion is apocalyptic. It's a shockwave of raw, unmitigated kinetic and magical energy.
It brings Welsies to the absolute brink of death. His adamantine armor is scorched black.
His spirit is flickering like a blown-out candle. Aaron is left standing with his hands on his knees, his bow splintered, down to maybe 10% of his normal vitality.
But Zora, who casts the spell, takes the brunt of this psychic and physical blast.
She is thrown backward through the air. She hits the stone, her life's breath fading instantly. She is actively dying, bleeding out on the floor of the ritual chamber.
They destroyed the Hand of Gormack, but the victory has entirely fundamentally broken them.
And there is zero time to grieve or celebrate. That thunderous terminal blast just echoed through the stone of the entire Iron Crown fortress.
It acted like a dinner bell for every single surviving pirate, assassin, and cultist in Ashwillow.
The fortress is waking up and footsteps are pounding down the halls. The Fellowship has to flee immediately.
But how do a group of battered, blind, and dying heroes escape a fortified stronghold suspended over a lava lake?
With one final, chaotic, incredibly dark move by Atenemus, knowing they will be overrun by hundreds of enemies in seconds, the warlock reaches deep into the dark magic of his patron.
And he summons a greater demon directly into the center of the fortress.
An abyssal horror dropped right into the middle of the awakening pirate stronghold as a diversion.
Yes,
I really want you to consider the thematic weight of this moment. Think about the irony here. To escape a demon's fortress, after nearly sacrificing their lives to stop a demon's general, they had to actively summon another demon.
To slaughter people to cover their tracks.
How far into the dark have these heroes fallen to save the light?
It is the ultimate payoff to the moral compromise we discussed in the barracks. They have fully shed their heroic ideals.
They are using the apocalyptic tools of the enemy just to survive another day.
While the pirates are screaming and fighting the new abyssal horror tearing through their halls, the broken fellowship is forced to lift Zora's unconscious, dying body.
They have to re-navigate those treacherous, sweltering lava ledges, slipping and bleeding in the ash.
Until they finally collapse hours later into the relative safety of the Wave Guild hideout for a long overdue, desperate rest.
What an absolute staggering epic. We've gone from bleeding out in a soot-stained alleyway to a gambler's desperate transaction with a god on a cliff face,
To the grim reality of stealth executions.
to fighting an apocalyptic concept blind in the dark on the edge of a volcano. They did it. They successfully destroyed the Hand of Gormack.
But the true scale of what they're up against has only just been revealed to them. The hand was merely one piece on the board.
So what does this all mean?
It means the prophecy marking their skin is not just a poetic legend. It is an active, hungry mechanism.
Yeah. Every victory they claim requires a sacrifice. It costs them their blood, it costs them their magic, and increasingly, it costs them a piece of their humanity.
Absolutely.
And here's a chilling realization to take with you as you stare into the dying embers of our campfire. Gormack has other generals.
Right. The chronicles explicitly speak of the eye, working twisted dark magic in the unseen mist.
They speak of the mouth, turning the frozen northern wastes into a legion of hollowed slaves. If confronting and destroying just one of these generals resulted in a terminal burst that left our legendary fellowship battered, blind, and dying.
What happens when they are forced to face the rest of them? The attrition rate is unsustainable.
Or worse, what happens if the Gate of the Bound fully rends? What happens if they don't just face a hollow construct of purple magic, but they are forced to look up and face the demon god Gormack himself?
It's terrifying to think about.
How much more of their blood, how much more of their very souls will be demanded by this prophecy before the end? Keep your weapons close and remember, the mist is always listening.
And the Watcher. The Watcher never forgives failure.
Keep the fire burning bright tonight, friend. We'll see you next time.